It's another fantastic day here. Nature is being kind and giving me this working time. It gets a bit hot during the day, so it's sort of early here right now, getting a good start. And we're going to go ahead and do some more work on Vanny here. That's her new name, Vanny. So the interior is pretty much stripped out. I'm very happy with that. All the electronics are gone. As we mentioned before, the warning lights that were here and showing up in the back window are removed. All the interior is pretty much taken care of. The side warning lights are out of the side windows. Wiring is removed. We can see some of the spots where the wiring was mounted and whatnot. And the front is all taken care of and cleaned and clear. However, there's just a few things I need to take care of. Let me just show you here. So on the passenger side, I have this this wiring, most of which needs to stay in place because this is what powers the systems in the window. The two cameras, GPS and satellite radio, and then over on the other side you see the antenna for the speed radar system. That all has to stay. So I do need to tidy these up. I've removed a few things off of the dash. Tidy those up. We'll remount the satellite radio antenna there because the satellite radio antenna on the roof is coming off. These three antennas that you see are going to be removed and the holes repaired and fixed by me. Always something to do and to learn. So the other thing is too, this main power wire that comes from the front engine battery, I need to tidy that up and fix that a little better, bring it back, clean it up, because the next bit of the project will be coming up very soon, and that is to install in the basement here the diesel heater, the 200 amp hour lithium battery from Zooms, and the diesel fuel tank. So we'll do measuring later on and figure out which fuel tank I need to install. Overall, I'm happy. This looks really clean and neat. I have ordered my selected chosen mattress for the back here. It's a tri-fold mattress, meaning that when it's not in use, the seat piece at the very foot end will come back, and then a backrest and a sort of a V-shaped part will form here. So it will become a sofa, and when you want to sleep, it becomes a bed. I will need to build somewhat of a bed frame. It won't be too high off of the floor because you want to have headroom. You don't want to make people feel claustrophobic. So we'll be doing that up. And these two seats, this seat here, the larger one, and this one you can see right here, I believe I'm going to be removing those today. That will allow a crap load of storage space under here. When both of these seats are lifted up, I can perhaps show you. There we are. So it's a little hard to tell on camera, but that's fairly deep and fairly wide. There's a lot of space in here. So I'll have to come up with a mechanism, an idea, and I wish I had more subscribers and more viewers. I know that will come in time, but then I could get a lot more advice and tips and hints. But please, if you have any ideas, feel free to contact me. I want to hear from you. I want to know. These will help my job project and decision making go a lot quicker. But I want to use this as storage space. I'll need to access it somehow without exiting the vehicle. And of course the reason for that is in bad weather, snowstorm, rainstorm, or if you're in an area that could be considered perhaps risky or dangerous, you don't want to step out of the vehicle to come around to open up the hatch to grab something if you're making a meal. looking for a snack, anything like that. So everything needs to be accessible and usable from the inside, perhaps as well as the outside. So let's get at some of the little projects today before we get at the heavy removal of this equipment. And one thing that's been bothering me the last few days since I cleared the back window is this back window. It's being really dirty. So I'm going to clean the inside of that first. It hasn't probably been cleaned since well, at least a year ago. So now we're going to tidy up this split loom, which brings the DC 12 volt with 10 gauge wires from the front to the back. And by the way, look how nice and clean the carpet came out. Just a little spot of salt left here, but that's fine. The rest is really nice. Okay, let's get at this. There. I think that's all we need. Perfect. I'm okay if it's visible a little bit. Okay, curls in. Let's give it a go. I can see it. I need me to put a little more here. That's how you do it. Success. All right. Now, I don't personally mind if this is visible. It's not going to bother anybody. It's not in my way, really. It won't be in the way of my feet. And it's definitely not behind the accelerator, which you don't want. That would be literally dangerous. So now this is somewhat in place. I'll go ahead and snug these down. There we go. Perfect. Snip these off, trim them up. There, Bob's your uncle. Okay, that's much better. Split loom, tidies it up, makes it a little safer, less of a maybe a trip hazard, and it's certainly not exposed to get trimmed or cut in any piece of metal or anything you step on. And the remainder of it can stay in the little storage basement area here for now until we get at the battery and diesel heater. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Later on, once I get the battery hooked up, I may also tag this with a wire tie just to the base of the plastic here, and that'll be fine. So I'm just checking it with my fat feet, and no, it's not in the way at all. There's perfect movement in and out. It's perfectly out of the way. Very happy. And what's next will be removing the two rear seats. One is a single passenger and the other is either a single or dual passenger. It's a little bit wider. But to me it looks like they have 4 bolts. And as far as I can tell, the sun here is on one of them quite brightly. Let's go to the other one. There we go. So here's a bolt, and this is just a security stud for sliding. That's for car crash protection. If you can see the single stud there. There's another bolt for the other seat beside it, and on this side we have the bolt and the security stud. And then let's get the other seat viewing here, and it would be the identical for this seat as well, but if you look right in here, that is that same bolt, and there's obviously one over here. Yep, there it is. You can see it right in there, inside there. So those are, I believe, all we need to take out to get this puppy out of here. This plastic frame protector frame is just held in with Phillips screws. There's a few of them, 3 I believe on each piece. So that will have to come out as well. But anyhow, let's perhaps loosen up the top mounts of these ones first, because these are under tension, and I think the tension is what helps lift it. So therefore we want to bring them up into this position before we undo the bottoms, because otherwise this bottom whole plate could forcibly flip in one direction or the other depending on the tension of these springs, and that is pretty tight. A lot of tension there. So let's get it reducing these top ones here. We'll put this in position. I'm going to move the camera back here so you folks can see everything from this direction. So I did some checking just a moment ago before the camera was set up, sorry, and I found that that's a 15 millimeter bolt. So 15 mil, I already have my little rusty socket on here, and first I'm going to remove the plastic plate, I think, or at least loosen it up with the Phillips. So I'm trying to think, what is the safest way to undo this bracket and not have that spring under tension? And I truly believe that it being one piece, I will go ahead and undo the top bolts first, and then bring the seat up, and then remove the lower bolts, which at that time then the spring should be under less tension. I think that will work. Definitely made for passing crash test standards. That thing is big. Yeah, that's a tough bolt. Okay, time to bring the seat up and remove the lower bolts. Woo. You are heavy. Holy cow. Why? Wow. Well, that's the first one. Now let's get this little one. Alright, so there's two different sizes of bolts that were used to hold those bottom sections together. As you can see, they're very similar, but the diameter of the silver ones is just a bit less than the black. Now, something else I noticed is that the mounting holes, and which one did I catch? This one. If you look carefully at the right angle, it's a hole right through outside of the vehicle. Probably the same for all four of them. So, with that in mind, and probably these top ones too, I would imagine, they go outside. So what I'll end up doing is I can use those bolts with those holes to help mount my my interior framing, the bed frame and whatnot. If not, I will have to remember to fill those holes with sealant, silicone or something, because obviously driving down the road, air pressure and whatnot, a lot of road spray, dust, any kind of fumes even from the engine could come through those holes to the interior body, and we don't want that, so that's something to keep in mind. Just playing around here, I took off this panel, plastic panel that sits right here. Two little tabs, take it off, it lifts out. And that's where the Dodge Corporation had put the jack equipment to replace a flat tire. So it's quite the storage area. I also had booster cables in there. It goes quite a ways in, about that far, as you can see. Now, I don't really know what to do with this area. As far as I can picture, in my brain, where all the plans are right now, the bed frame is going to run along here, and as well right about here. It will be short from the wall by about maybe 6 inches, maybe more, a little bit more, not too much. But I'm thinking, could we use this area? Now, these panels all have to come off, and I need to insulate the metal wall on the inside, so that's fine. But then, before I put it back, do we cut this out and use this area as some kind of storage? That might work. We would have to cover off this side, but then if we opened this portion up, you would have a storage area being able to face down. And that might be very good for personal items. You know, wallet, maybe set up some system in there to charge your cell phone, that kind of thing. And then as well, the other side, the passenger side, well, passenger side here in Canada, the same space exists behind here. Now, here's what I know for sure. On the models that have rear air conditioning and heating modules set up, this is where they go. This vehicle does not have that. As you can see on the ceiling, there are no vents, there's no ducting, nothing. So, I assume that this much space exists on this side. And again, we could use that for something. Cut this out or part of it and have access to another storage area. And that's pretty cool.